Hello and welcome to Yamala Yoga. I'm Jane, and today I have a request for some poses to help with a tight body. So, have you got a tight body? Are you sitting for many hours in your day? Do you need to loosen up? So these poses will help you loosen up the whole body. And you'll need a mat or a carpet or whatever you feel comfortable using. And you may need a couple of blocks or maybe just one block. And you may not need any blocks, it depends on the nature of your body. Some of you may need a belt, and if you don't have a belt, you can use a scarf or a shawl or anything that you can fold up and has a little bit of strength. And apart from that, your body exactly as it is. Okay, so let's begin. And we can begin in child's pose, which is kind of the base pose. So there are 9 poses plus this child's pose, and this is the base pose that you can return to at any time if you need to. So let's begin with the knees more or less together, and take your forehead down to the ground. If it doesn't get there, you could support it with a cushion or a block. And we're going to begin taking your arms forward, and this is where a block can come in handy. But it's not necessary. If you don't have anything, you can just stretch your hands forward, let your forehead hang down, and feel that forward bend, the flexion on the spine and in the hips. If you have a block, you can get hold of your block and just curl your fingers around the back of the block, and that will give you more of a sense of stretch in your arms, your shoulders, your upper body. And let's stay here for 3 or 4 breaths. And from there, letting go of your block and slowly coming up. And let's find all fours for cat-cow pose. So, cat-cow pose is one of the most common, basic poses in yoga, and also one of the most fantastic and delicious. So, if you have a block or a cushion, please put it in between your thighs, and we're going to push in. Yeah, so really pushing into the center, and that will help activate your perineum muscles and your belly, and your hands about under your shoulders. Really open your hands nice and wide and plug your hands to the ground. And you can even imagine that in the very center of the palms of your hand, the energy is kind of sucking upwards, up your arm, up to your shoulders, and that gives you solidity and stability. And then we're going to separate the hands, really pull them apart. That creates more stability in the shoulders, and as you pull them apart, pull them back towards your knees and open the front side of your body up. So that should feel like a really delicious stretch. And in the exhalation, we're going the other way. So keep separating the hands, left to the left, right to the right, and pulling them away and push them back, forward to the front of the mat, rounding the back body. And let's do that again. So always pulling the hands apart, and now pulling them back towards your knees to open the front body, and in the exhalation, pushing them forward to the front of the mat to open up the back body. Keep squeezing in on the block. So there's quite a few things going on at once, and try and synchronize with your breath, however your breath is, and just begin to feel how that delicious stretching on the front body stretches the skin, opens up from the pubic bone to the forehead, and in the exhalation, opening up from the tailbone to the back of the neck. And let's do that one more time. Keep separating the hands, squeezing into the block, and exhale, now you could do more of a warm-up before the sequence, but if not, that almost serves as a warm-up. So from there, let's just shake out a little bit, shake out the hips, shake out the thighs, and let's take the right foot forward into a lunge pose. So a lunge pose, we could just kind of flop there and we're not doing so much, but we don't want to do that, we want to work. So let's push the foot down to the ground and at the same time pull that front foot back towards your back knee, and that really stabilizes the right hip joint, activates the muscles, gives a better stretch. So we're stretching here on the hip flexors, on the quadricep, on the glutes, and we're going to take the arms up to add an upper body stretch as well. So you can join the fingertips together, join the palms together, whatever feels best, and keep pulling back on that front heel. And you can also push those hands together, push the fingertips together to create a little bit more opening in the chest. And lift your head up a little bit up to the sky. Another 3 breaths here. And relax your mouth. And lovely. Inhale, take the hands down. And let's go the other way. So slip that right foot back, left foot forward. And when you take that step forward, make sure that you don't have the front foot in front of the back knee, because then when you get up there, you'll be all wobbly. So you want to make sure that that front foot is a little bit open, and you can play around with that opening. And then separate that left foot as far as possible from the right knee, and more or less being able to keep that left knee on top of the left ankle, yeah, without having to measure it precisely. So yeah, you're already going to be feeling the stretch maybe in the front of that right thigh, in the back of the left thigh, the left glutes. And now let's activate pulling that front heel back, and try not to clench with your toes. The toes can stretch forward. Take the arms up in the air and join the fingertips or the palms together, push them together, and gently lift your glance up to the sky. Relax your mouth, and 3 breaths here. So when you keep pulling that front heel back and feeling that delicious stretch in the front and maybe the inner back thigh and the back of the left thigh. And the upper body, the armpits, inhale and exhale. Let's take the hands down and take that front foot back, and let's just come down for a moment into a child's pose. So the forehead on the ground, we can take the hands back if that's comfortable for you. And 3 or 4 breaths down on the ground. So already starting to feel a little bit more open. Let's come up, and we're going to go to our one standing pose. So let's stand at the front of the mat. This is, we may need a block or 2, and we're going to take the left foot quick step back, and we're going to have the right foot looking forward to the front of the mat, and the left foot may be anything between 90 degrees and 45 degrees. Yeah, so it'll depend on how it feels for you. If putting it 45 degrees is just too much going on in the calves, in the hamstring, the back of the knee area, then put it 90 degrees, okay? And so when you found what more or less feels like you're stretching back, you can hold on to it for a moment without wincing, without grimacing. Push those feet down to the ground, toes nice and open, and let's get hold of the ribs. So find the rib cage, and then make sure that that is facing more or less the front long edge of the yoga mat. Don't worry about your hips, just let your hips do whatever they want to do. Let's open the arms. We're going to do triangle pose, and look to the right middle finger. Try and not create tension in the shoulders, so let those shoulders come down, melt down as much as possible, and then we're going to try and touch the wall with the right hand, and from there take that right hand down anywhere. So we always want to get down as far as possible because the mind thinks that that's cool. But really, the only thing that matters is we don't let that left shoulder fall forward. Okay, so keep that left shoulder nice and upwards, and you may want to support your hand on your leg. You may want to support it on the floor if you get down that far. It may be higher, even above the knee. That's absolutely fine. It really doesn't make any difference. The only thing we're looking for is a hamstring stretch, inner thigh stretch, a calf stretch, and a side body stretch. Okay, so if you use a block, put it on the inside, and from there, let's lift up that left hand up to the sky. And if it's possible, we're going to imagine that you have a triangular block in between your thighs, and you want to pull into the center line, squeeze in to that block. And at the same time, let's just take that rib cage and roll it round to the left. Lovely. And this may be available for some of you and for some of you not. But if it is, we're going to take that left arm over the left ear so that we get a slightly more sense of delicious stretching on the left side body. Lovely. Keep pulling in on the invisible block. Lightness on the right hand so you don't dump into the hand. Take your ears back a little bit. Left outer heel pushes down and stretches out to the left fingertips. Inhale. Lovely. And exhale. Take the left hand down. Push the big toes down to the ground. Come up. Twist that right foot forward. Twist the left foot forward. And arrange. Make your arrangement. Shuffle around a bit. Find what feels good on this left side. And from there, open the toes. Again, find the rib cage and just twist that around to look to the front of the mat. Open your arms, hands nice and wide and open. And you can actually imagine that they're resting on an invisible wall, just here, just under your arms. Or you can even push down on that invisible wall. And now let's look to the left middle finger, stretch that hand forward, take the left hand down to the block or to your leg, or to the ground, some of you, but most of you won't get to the ground. And making sure that that right shoulder doesn't collapse forward or fall forward any amount. We want it nice and open. And from there, finding the invisible block between the thighs, pulling in. And then, if that feels okay for you, if you don't have any right shoulder issues or injuries, we can take that right arm over the right ear and take the ears back a little bit. Keep pulling in on the invisible block. And stretch from that outer right heel to the right fingertips. And they're not fingertips, are they? They're fingertips. And from there, maybe just rolling that rib cage round to the right side. Inhale. Lovely stretch on that side body. There's hamstrings. And exhale, take that right hand down. Push up with the big toes. And twist that right foot round. Lovely, and from there, whatever you fancy, you can come out heel, toe, which is a nice, lovely way to come out. Or if you fancy a little bit more, you can do a little jump. Lovely, and from there, let's calm down, and we're going to do a cow space pose, just with the upper body. So, if this is comfortable for you, this kneeling pose, that's great. You could always use a block so that you don't have so much pressure on the front of your feet. If it's not good for you, you could kneel, or you could just sit down on the floor any which way, or even on a chair as well. So for this pose, you may or may not need a belt or a strap or something similar. And let's start with the right side. So right arm up to the sky, bend the right arm, and let's just lift that right shoulder up to the sky, any amount. Some of you may, the shoulder, if it's very tight, maybe that arm is more going out that way, that's fine, but just try and elongate that upper arm as much as possible. And then let's take the left arm, left hand to the right elbow, and just for 5, count to 5, push that right elbow into the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and let it go. Okay, lovely. So that will create a little bit more space. And of course now we're stretching the right side body, the right armpit area, all the upper arm muscles, and we're going to take that left arm over to the left, twist the thumb downwards, and then take the hand behind the back and try and join the hands together. Now, if you can join the hands together, great. And if you can't join the hands together, great. And the only thing that matters is that we feel the stretch. So it doesn't make you any better or any worse if you can or you can't. If you can't get there, it's nice to use the strap so that you can grip hold of something. And from there, try and maybe take your chin down. We often lift our chin up with the effort of trying to get hold of the hand. So take your chin down, relax the mouth, long neck, and directing that right shoulder and right elbow up to the sky and left elbow down to the floor. And let's do 3 or 4 more breaths here. This is a particularly fantastic one for all of us who spend a lot of time on the computer or just for daily life. Computer, driving, cooking, reading, just about nearly everything we do, even bicycle. And from there, very slowly on, clenching those hands or the strap, taking the left arm down, right arm up, and just resting there for a moment. If you need to give your legs a shake out, or maybe change to another pose if that doesn't feel so good. And let's go on the other side. So again, you may or may not need your strap. You'll probably know yourself. And just be aware that the surprising, not symmetrical nature of nearly all of our bodies. Most of us are born without symmetry, and then life happens. So then we get even less symmetrical. But it's totally fine. For most of us, asymmetry is not a problem. You know, if you don't have pain, if it doesn't cause problems in your ability to live your life, then it's totally fine, and there's nothing that we need to do about it. But it's good to recognize it. So you may find your left shoulder very different from your right. So let's take your left arm up to the sky, and as if you're scratching between your shoulder blades, right hand over to your left elbow, and let's just push that left elbow up to the sky as much as possible, and then push the left elbow against the right hand against the left elbow for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let it go, soften. And from there, let's take that right hand, thumb down, behind the back, and try and get hold of the hands on this side. Now I can get hold of the hands on the other side, but as I've got shoulder stuff going on my right shoulder, I can't get hold of them. Usually I can't, maybe in the evening I can, but in the morning it's hard. So I use a strap on this side, and when you found more or less that kind of sweet spot where you can feel the stretch in that left upper arm, in the left armpit, the left side body, and the front of the right shoulder, then maybe direct your chin a little bit down so that your neck is long, relax the mouth, and 2 or 3 more breaths. So whilst we're creating space and creating opening in the body, we don't want to clench anything that doesn't need clenching at this moment. So that nearly always is the mouth, jaw area. So create space in your mouth and space in your forehead, space and softness in the root of your tongue, and let's go. Softening, letting go of the strap if you had one. You won't be needing that anymore. And maybe give the legs a shake a little bit. And let's sit down and come to cobbler's pose. So this is a great inner thigh stretch. So join the feet together and bring them in a little bit, and then interlacing the fingers around the toes if that's possible for you. It's all to do with proportions and bone length and tissues. So if that's not possible for you, hold your feet or hold your ankles or hold your calves. And from there, and if that's not comfortable, you can use a strap as well, as soon as you've got one there. So finding your way to get hold of the bottom half of your body, and then we're going to push the inner thighs down to the ground. So often we hear like take the knees down to the ground, but actually we want it to come from here, from those abductor muscles. So push those inner thighs down to the ground, and at the same time try and lift the center of your chest up towards the sky. Shoulder bones can come back a little bit, and again relax the lower jawbone, especially lengthen the back of the neck, and let's stay here for another 4 or 5 breaths. So stretching those inner thighs, and we're also stretching those arms, the arm muscles, maybe creating space in the top of the back area as well. One more breath. And coming slowly out. Let's lengthen the legs, both legs for a moment. Just give them a little wiggle and a little shake. Moving the hips. And let's take the right leg and bend it. Take the foot behind you, like this. Yeah, and if that's not possible for you, you can just go for this alternative. So we're doing another inner thigh stretch. But if you can, we're going to aim more for the quads. So if this is something you'd like to do, but it's a bit too tight for you to be able to maintain the pose, you can just sit up on a block or a cushion, and that will give you a little bit more space there. So from there, let's activate that left foot, so push the heel away, and at the same time, as if you are sucking up energy from the sole of the foot up to the thigh bone and the hip joint. And from there, let's inhale, and in the exhalation we're going to fold over. So some of you, if you have got a tight body, maybe you're folding over maybe just a tiny weeny bit, and you just can't fold anymore. Those hamstrings have just got to their limit, and there's nowhere to go. Some of you may even have the structure and the shape of your hip joint may mean that you get to compression here and you can't go any further forward. For whatever the reason, it's perfect because you're already getting a stretch there. So if this is where you're feeling a stretch, then that's fantastic. Those of you that can come further down, then by all means come further down. And let's take the hands forward and separate. So we can take the hands up on fingertips. If you're very high up, the hands can be separate but closer to your body, of course. And from there, we can pull those hands back towards you to help you stretch those hamstrings and stretch the heart forward. If it's too much on the hamstrings, you could always slip a block, or even better, a cushion underneath that knee as well, that left knee. And so from there, we're going to inhale, really pulling back with the hands and taking that heart forward. And in the exhale, maybe you can come down a little bit. Inhale, stretching forward. Exhale, coming down a wee bit. Inhale, stretching forward, and exhale, coming down a wee bit. And now just let your head hang wherever you are, as long as that feels good in your neck. And let's just stay wherever you are for 3 or 4 breaths. Opening up that long line of muscles and tendons and ligaments in the back of your left leg, and also stretching out the front of the right thigh. And as well, of course, we're getting into the glutes, the lower back, and maybe to the thoracic spine. One more breath, and slowly come out. Unfolding that right leg, and let's bend the knees and just take the knees from one side to the other. Great, and let's go on the other side, so straightening out the right leg, and bending the left inwards. As we said before, if this is too much for you, you could do the alternative version, which won't work the quads so much, but we'll be going the inner thighs again. Or maybe just lifting up any amount should soften the quads to make it a little bit more available. So from wherever you are, let's push that right heel away, inhale, and in the exhalation, folding forward any amount, wherever it is that you get to, finding the place to be with your hands, fingertips, and quite wide, so that there's space. If we have the hands really close together, it's kind of harder to take the heart forward. So nice and wide on the hands. Keep pulling those hands back, so it really help your front body and your heart to go forward, and the inhalation and the exhalation maybe coming down a little bit. Inhale, pushing forward. Exhale, coming down a little bit. Really feeling it in that left quad. They said that it's a quad because it's got 4 bands of muscles, and probably feeling it in the hamstring of the right leg as well. Inhale, heart forward, and exhale, just let yourself go. Let head go if that feels comfortable. And 3 or 4 breaths. Lovely. Hands underneath the shoulders. Let's push up. Unfold the left leg, and again, let's bend the knees. This time, let's just shake it out a little bit. Shake those calves, shake the thighs, everything jelly. And lovely. Let's now come down to the ground. So let's bend the knees. Make sure you've got space behind you, and you could put your block in between your thighs and squeeze in. And let's try and calm down as controlled as possible. And when you get down to the ground, shift those blocks away if they're there in the way of your head, and bend your knees. Bring your feet, your heels as close as possible to your thighs, but you don't need to use your hands to do it. And then hands on the ground, nice and wide, and let's look up to the sky, up to the ceiling. I can just see it's the most beautiful, really long cloud going by there, but you're welcome to look straight up to your ceiling, because we tend to keep the chin a little bit too far down in this pose. So create space in your throat and in the back of your neck. Root those hands as wide as possible, plug to the ground, and from there, let's take those elbows as close to the side body as possible, opening that chest. And from there, let's push those feet down to the ground and start peeling the spine bone by bone off the ground to find bridge pose. Now, if it's comfortable for you, interlace the fingers below your sacrum. And if it's not, you're welcome just to keep your hands on the ground. And if they are on the ground, push them down, push the shoulders down. If they're interlaced, then push those pinky side of the hands, the little finger side of the hands, push that down to the ground, and that will help you open up a little bit. Remember to look up to the sky and relax the mouth. And imagine that you have a block in between your thighs and you're pushing in. That will help you open as well. And so lovely stretch in the whole front of the body. So we're strengthening the back body and stretching open the front body. And stretch those toes forward. So the inside of the feet are on the ground, the outside of the feet on the ground. Inhale one more time, and let's let go of the hands. In the exhalation, we're going to push the feet away and come down to find really lovely space between each bone of your spinal column. And when you get down to the ground, take the knees to the chest and give yourself a squeeze. Lovely, we're going to do one more pose, really nice one for getting into the hips, which can be called face up swan or figure of four. So let's cross the right ankle over the left knee. For some of you, you may be feeling quite a stretch in that right hip joint already, in which case that's enough for you. If you need more, take your left knee into the chest and get hold of the left thigh. So take your right hand between your thighs, the left hand on the outside of your left thigh, interlace the fingers. And if that feels, if there's quite a lot going on in that right hip, then that's the perfect spot for you. And if you need more, you can get hold of your shin. Remember, if you can get hold of your shin, it doesn't make you any better of a person. You're not any wiser or any cleverer. It just means you've got a different body. So let's get hold of that shin, if that feels good to you, or your thigh. Some of you may prefer to use a strap. And if you've got a quite slender and mobile body, then you may need to put something on the other side of the shin to feel a stretch there. Okay, so that's another option. And let's stay there for 5 breaths. If you flex both feet and open all those toes, as if you're looking to see if you've got fluff between your toes, then that will activate a little bit more. And then just from the inside, direct that right knee away from you, and at the same time try and ground your sacrum. So direct your sacrum down to the ground, and you'll feel that even more in that inner right hip. And another couple of breaths. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue as much as possible. Inhale. Lovely, and exhale. Take that left foot down, stretch that right leg up to the sky, and take it down to the ground. Left leg stretches out, and let's go the other way. So bending both knees again, crossing left ankle over right knee, and bringing, if that's enough for you, staying there, directing that left knee away. If you need more, bringing the right knee into the chest. Left hand between the thighs, interlace the fingers. If that feels like you've got enough going on in your left thigh joint, then, your left hip joint, then that's the perfect place for you. If you need more, then get hold of your shin. Remember, if you need even more, you can put something in between your shin and your hands. And then try and relax the back of the neck, relax your throat, relax your tongue. Flex both feet and direct that left inner knee away from you and the sacrum down to the ground. Delicious stretch in that left hip. Another couple of breaths. And inhale. And exhalation. Unwrapping those hands and stretching the left leg up to the sky, taking it down to the ground, stretching the right leg out, separating those feet, hands down to the ground, and just give yourself at least a minute or two in whatever comfortable relaxation pose is best for you just now. And don't skimp on this bit. This is the most important bit. This is what balances the body after all this opening and delicious stretching. And just kind of soak up, wallow in this delicious open feeling that you have created in your body. And just stay with it, stay with yourself for a minute or two more. And you may want to say to yourself, my entire being is balanced, open, and healthy. My entire being is balanced, open, and healthy. Okay, and from there, just begin to stretch those fingers, stretch the arms, maybe take the hands up and back, stretch out those legs, give yourself a big, big stretch. And then take the knees into this chest and give yourself a squeeze. Rock over onto one side and come up. And that's us. So enjoy that lovely open feeling in your body and see you soon.